expect a win. I don't know, by knockout or submission. That's what I'm going to go for, but I expect 5-minute round of war at very high pace.
It is the one we have waited our entire lives for. KLRG 880, the Little Rock Giant. What's going on? Craig Anthony here. My show, The Fifth Round. That's right. My first show. How are we doing this morning, Arkansas? Well, I'm doing fantastic this morning because, well, I'm just on fire. I sat here and helped all those guys with We the People Radio. That show rocked, but now it is my turn to take over the airwaves. For the next hour, you've got me, Craig Anthony. We've got sports to talk about. We've got MMA news. I got Nathan Kirby coming into the house here shortly. And, of course, we've got some health and nutrition stuff later on. So, well, where should I start? Well, I'll tell you quickly about myself for those just tuning in for the first time. My name's Craig Anthony, Arizona raised. Now I live here in Arkansas, and I love this state. Go Hogs. I'm not a big Hogs fan, but I live here now, so I guess I got to support them. I'm a big Arizona State fan, big fan of the Chicago Bears. Those are my teams, the Bears. In baseball, it's the Cubs. Yeah, I'm a big Chicago fan. I was born in Illinois, but it's okay. Time to move forward. Well, the Chicago Bears. I'm going to talk about some highlight sports and stuff. My new show's all about some highlight sports. Mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all types of good stuff. And in that MMA segment, I'm talking to locals. I'm going to bring in the locals. I want to talk to local fighters, local gym owners, just local students. Because, well, I'm all about getting the community together to do the right thing, to be able to get this state in shape. Look, the state of Arkansas is ranked number 9 of most obese states in the nation, which is a shame. So you know what? I'm going to use the power of the airwaves in my show to try to help you out, to make things a little bit easier for you, and we'll see what happens. Well, to start the top of the hour, to start my hour, we're going to sit here. I'm like hearing weird noises in my studio. Well, Chicago Bears, they got permission to interview 4 different GM candidates. They posted it on their website. And if you remember, Jerry Angelo was fired on January 3rd after 11 years following a disappointing 8-8 season. Injuries to Jay Cutler and running back Matt Forte, well, that kind of ruined the rest of the season. So, lots of big power struggle stuff. There's lots of stuff going on around the sports world right now. And the funny thing is it's not the good stuff that you want to hear about. Oh, man, yeah, so-and-so's winning this and so-and-so's winning that. Other than the Denver Broncos and Tim Tebow. But that's another story I'll get to here in a minute about Tim Tebow and the greatness of that guy. The Oakland A's are looking to possibly move to San Jose. Dismal up there in Oakland. You've got the new GM of the Oakland Raiders that's causing a big stink up there too. That people are thinking, oh, this guy's not ready. He's not ready. Al Davis with some big shoes to fill. If any of you have been following sports for very long and know anything about football and the history of the Oakland Raiders and Al Davis, man, that guy left a legacy. He really did. Big shoes to fill. You're not going to come in there and just be the most popular guy in the world when you have to pick up the slack up there. Another news story I was reading this morning, Chad Ochocinco is in the news yet again. Ooh, as if that surprises anybody. But he's complaining about Tom Brady. Complaining about his own quarterback and how his own quarterback, as they're practicing right now, is a complete, almost tyrant. That he's a complete jerk when he's up there. But here's the facts. Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. There's no argument to that, period. What the regular people don't realize is the intensity that a guy like Tom Brady has to play with. This is his livelihood. This is his career, and he wants to be the best at it. Look, Tom Brady was not a number one draft pick. He wasn't some superhero coming out of college. Tom Brady had to make his way in the NFL. He had to work hard. He had to work harder than others to get to where he was at today. It's the mentality that he has in training that makes him the superstar that he is today. If you look at all professional sports, you will realize how hard the best actually push, because they will settle for no less than perfection. Michael Jordan, it has been said many a times that in practices, when Michael Jordan was on the Chicago Bulls and all those championship seasons, that Michael Jordan would push everybody to another level. He would not settle for second best. The greatest will always train harder. They're in the gym earlier, and they're the last to leave. They are the leaders of these football teams, basketball teams, baseball teams. I don't care what sport you're talking about. I'll guarantee you that if you talk to any of the guys in the UFC right now, especially the champions, that you're going to sit there and go, wow, and be blown away if you were to spend one day, just one day, with some of these guys and how hard they have to actually work to be as good as they are. The average guy that sits on the couch at home and watches these sports can sit back and go, oh, man, I could do that. Well, you remember a little TV show on Spike called Pros versus Joes? I remember that show. Time after time after time, these guys would come on the show and think, oh, well, man, I played high school basketball or football or baseball, and now I'm going to go up against these pros. Look, there were pros on there that had been out of the league for a decade that can out-hit, out-shoot, outrun and out-hit anything. You're not going to sit there and tell me that the level that these guys play at, it's insane. So when I hear Chad Ochocinco coming on and complaining, it's because Ochocinco's lazy. If you want to be the champ, if you want to go down in the annals of history as being one of the greatest of all time, you will step on that field and give it 100% every time. Jerry Rice, been known as the greatest wide receiver to ever play the game of football. Why? Because he had a work ethic that was above and beyond. So any of you high school kids out there that are listening to my show right now, if you want to know what it takes to be a pro at anything, it is the hardcore work ethic, the dedication that it takes to get to such a high level. It'll be nice because not only do I have a pro fighter, Nathan Kirby, going to be in my show today, next week, I've got Rolly Delgado, who not only is a pro fighter, he's been to the pinnacle. He's been to the UFC. And we'll get his take on what it takes to get to that level. We got some good football, great football, lined up for this weekend. I'm not going to cover it too much because it was this past week. So I'll just tell you real quick about Alabama versus LSU. Alabama, hands down, played the greatest defensive game I've ever seen in my 34 years of life. I'm a huge football fan, and to sit there and watch Alabama completely shut down, which was arguably the best team in all of college football this past season, shut them down. That LSU, until the fourth quarter, didn't get past the 50-yard line. Not only that, Alabama only had one flag thrown on them for one little offsides penalty towards the end of the game. It was defensive perfection, 21-0. Yes, it wasn't the little 6-3 that we saw in the regular season. It just wasn't. This was a blowout, I do not care if half the points were scored by the kicker or not. I don't care. That doesn't matter. What matters is at the very end of the day, when the fat lady sings, it was 21-0, and the LSU, Les Miles, and the LSU dominance came to an end at the hands of the Alabama Crimson Tide. We have some phenomenal football this weekend. I definitely want to cover some of that because I am really looking forward to Tim Tebow and the Denver Broncos going up and playing in New England because I think this is going to be a shootout. This is the game. Make it or break it. Tim Tebow, I'll tell you right now, I believe that Tim Tebow is the real deal. He's been thrown in the fire, and he's going up against one of the best teams in the league. Everybody will tell you that, look, it's going to be more than likely New England in the Super Bowl. But I have a feeling that Denver can stop them. If Denver comes out and fires on all cylinders and Tim Tebow drops in praise, he's going to tell you, man, he gives us thanks to the Lord, which is the most awesome thing ever. I have mad respect and praises to the man that will sit on national television and give the praises to Jesus Christ for what he's got to say. He's a class act. You can be mad at him all you want. You know, you'd probably not like half the celebrities out there if they came up and every time they're on the team, hey, praise Jesus Christ. Praise Jesus. But you know what? As a Christian, that's our job. I'm getting off on a tangent there. Other great games this weekend. San Francisco, New Orleans. New Orleans is on a tear. Drew Brees is like taking, I look at Drew Brees like you're taking an M16 to a paintball fight. That guy, his arm was so amazing when he broke the record. And the way that New Orleans is playing, those guys are, I would, if I was a betting man, which I am not, I would put my money on New Orleans. I would. Because those guys play 4 quarters of solid football. And when everybody all complained, oh, he ran up the score. Who cares? I'm telling you right now, if I was down in the Superdome and I just dropped $100 to go watch Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints play football, I want to see everything humanly possible, from broken records to broken bones. I don't care. I want to see a fight. I want to see hardcore, passionate football. I want to see 100-0 if it was possible. I don't care. It's not some, ew, it's an unwritten rule. That wasn't nice. That wasn't fair. Who cares? It's good football. I want to see touchdowns. Do I want to see great defense? Of course I do. Everybody that thought that the LSU-Alabama game during the season was boring because it was 6-3, watch the defense. Watch how awesome these guys play. It's beyond today's day and age. We have to take it beyond, ooh, my team won or ooh, my team lost, because that's all that matters at the end of the game. Who won, who lost, how they got to that road at the end of it doesn't matter. 21-0, national champions. It's pretty spectacular in my opinion. I saw that as a blowout. Well, other games. Houston, Baltimore. Houston, Baltimore. Both looking very tough. Very good. Baltimore has its weapons, and so does Houston. To me, it's a toss-up right now. Giants, Green Bay, not so much of a toss-up. I've been a Chicago Bears fan my whole life, and I cannot stand the Green Bay Packers, but I will step back and I digress. Look, the Packers have proven this year to be one of the most unstoppable forces in all of football. It's just a fact. Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and dog anybody's teams that are still in the playoffs because they're in the playoffs. The Green Bay Packers have weapons that go from left to right. There's just no stopping the Green Bay Packers. I hope they fail. I really do. But, man, it's going to be a tough road. So, Green Bay, man, we shall see. We shall see. Well, I'm going to take a short break. Stick around right here to KLRG in the 5th round. I'll be back in just a few. Stick around. I got some MMA news coming up in just a minute.
Joe Messina here. I'm the host of the Real Side Radio Show, heard right here on KLRG every weekday from 4 to 5 o'clock. I just want to get you ready for what you're about to hear. We're real talk, real facts. It's real simple. It's the real side. Real side of the issues. We deal with the hot topics of the day, of the week. They're political, religious, social, and there's no issue that's taboo for me. I've dealt with pole dancing classes from mothers and daughters, all the way to the show on 9/11 from a Muslim perspective. What do you get when you have a pastor, an imam, a rabbi, and an atheist in the studio? Not a joke. I'm going to tell you. You'll have to tune in to find out.
Oh, man, not again.
What's wrong, honey?
Pipes frozen. They busted.
Oh, my gosh. Well, what are you going to do about it?
With winter upon us, we all know the dangers of busted water pipes. When the worst happens, are you going to call some rookie plumbing company? Or are you going to call someone with prestige? Prestige Plumbing in Benton is there for all of your plumbing needs. Josh, the owner, is a master plumber and is licensed, bonded, and insured. No job is too big or too small for Prestige Plumbing. From custom residential installs to large commercial builds, Prestige Plumbing is there to get the job done right. When you're in need of a plumber with Prestige, call Prestige Plumbing at 501-804-6445. That's 501-804-6445. Or stop by the shop at 3 Summerwood Drive in Benton. From clogs to customs, think Prestige Plumbing. Pipes are fixed thanks to Josh and the crew of Prestige Plumbing.
1 year old and the fastest growing audience in Arkansas. True Talk Radio, 880 KLRG.
My car. What am I going to do? Oh, yeah, $50 tow. I almost forgot. $50 tow in Southwest Little Rock, voted #1 by Wallets Everywhere, is there when you need them. They are fully insured and certified by the Arkansas Towing Board. For fast and friendly service, call 501-952-9650. That's 501-952-9650. If your car's not on the go, call $50 tow. Only a $50 flat fee for the Little Rock and North Little Rock areas.
If things continue on the current course in our beloved republic, the freedom that we have left will be smothered by the darkness of an oppressive world government.
For too long, you've been hypnotized by the fallacy of the left-right paradigm. How long will you lay idle? How long will you remain silent? Dust off your Bible,
Sharpen your sword,
and swear an oath to protect the Constitution. And join us, Luke, Levi, and Matt at We the People Radio to promote this message of truth.
beginning the 13th of January, 2012, in the year of our Lord, from 7 to 8 a.m.
The night is darkest just before the dawn, and I promise you, the dawn is coming.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Be prepared to be tapped out with MMA news right here on KLRG. Hey, what's going on? And we're back to the fifth round right here on KLRG, 880 AM and 94.5 FM. You could also stream us on KLRG880.com. Check out my Facebook page at Craig Anthony. And, of course, I'm on Twitter, Craig Anthony 880. And, of course, if you can go to the the Facebook page for KLRG 880 AM / 94.5 FM, the Little Rock Giant. Well, MMA news, mixed martial arts greatness. This is my favorite segment of the day. Here in just a minute, I got pro fighter Nathan Kirby going to be in the house. He is on his way. He's right around the corner. I'm pretty sure he's going to be stepping in the door in just a second. So, well, we do got some awesome stuff to talk about. For all those female fight fans, women's fight fans, Gina Carano, well, you don't have to be a women's fight fan to be a fan of Gina Carano. She's got a new movie coming out right now called Haywire. Did find it a little bit funny that they changed her voice in the movie. Of course, in the commercials, I really haven't seen her talk at all. But who cares? It's just another cool flick. It's like the Jason Bourne movies with a girl who can kick your rear, man. It's awesome. But beyond her being an actress, she was also at one time, 2 years ago, one known as probably the best fighter in female MMA. In recent months, some people have started thinking, man, is female MMA going to be stepping forward? You know, Cyborg Santos, man, she dropped back because, steroids. Hey, we got Nathan Kirby in the house. He's here, ladies and gentlemen. The man, the myth, the legend, the Nathan Kirby. I swear, if he was on stage at an AC/DC concert right now, he'd be going nuts. Good morning, Mr. Kirby. Oh, wait, now we got it. Oh, mic's on now. Hey, good morning, dude.
Good morning.
All right. Well, we're talking some MMA stuff.
Gina
Carano.
She's something else. You know, she's not on the top 10.
She's not. And I really believe she's not on the top 10 because she hasn't stepped in the cage in 2 years.
I don't know. She fought a man the last time she fought.
Well, you know what? Now that all this stuff has come to light with Gina Carano, with Cyborg Santos and the failing of a steroid drug test and human growth hormone at Winstrol, what does that do, in your opinion, in your pro opinion, as what do you think now about the rest of her fights that she had? Did she possibly squeak by using steroids, or what's your opinion on that?
Okay, I've always had this struggle with steroids. You know, when I train up in Iowa with Pat Miletich, I'm training up there. There's a guy named Travis Fulton. I don't know if you heard of him. What's funny is he's a no-name, but he's probably got more MMA fights than anyone in the world. I'm not even kidding. He has 250 MMA fights to his name.
Wow.
It's insane. He never trained for them. And he even states this. He fought for the IFL. Do you remember the IFL?
Definitely remember the IFL.
I actually tried getting involved with the IFL, and they shut the doors down. They went out of business. They didn't have a good business practice anyway. But anyway, he got on steroids. And what's funny is when I was talking to some of his trainers, his coaches, he was never the same. The day that he started steroids, he was never the same. He would get paranoid. He started freaking out sometimes before a fight would happen. Steroids mess you up. They give you a little competitive edge. They give you a little bit more strength. They give you some ability. They give you some crazy recovery time. There's some amazing perks to it, but if you don't look at the nastiness of it, if you don't look at the side effects of this, if you don't look at what it is actually doing to your body, and you only look at the good, but you don't take the path of hard work to get there. The other guy that was there was another guy. He was a UFC champion, Tim Sylvia. And he got busted for steroids.
Yep.
And I just lose all respect for anybody who has to use illegal supplements no matter what. I'm a realist, but I'm a purist as well. If you want it, there's nothing that 100%, 150% hard work is not going to get you. And I think she's just been a cheat. Brazil, it's common in Brazil. Actually, it's legal in Brazil.
Yeah.
Steroids are legal. And they all use steroids. It's just insane.
In the house right now, ladies and gentlemen, I got Nathan Kirby. If you're unfamiliar with this gentleman, let's just give you a quick, brief background. Correct me if I'm wrong. 5-3 as a pro?
Honestly, I don't know.
That's the thing. Yeah,
honestly, it's a 9-2-1 overall.
According to SureDog, 5-3. Originally fought the Pat Miletich fighting systems. For those unaware of Pat Miletich, not only was he a UFC champion, he has trained many UFC champions and great competitors up there in Iowa.
Yeah.
Being an Iowa boy, I'm pretty sure you got a little bit of a wrestling pedigree as well.
I did a little bit, but you got to understand the physique that I have. I didn't get this until I was 20, and it was the gym. I had a train. I was skin and bones. I was a pole. I was the smallest kid in 7th and 8th grade. In 8th grade, I was the second smallest. The girls were bigger than me. That's what was crazy.
And for most people that know Nathan, everybody always says, "Oh man, big Nathan Kirby," because he's quite the tall, big dude. You'd think, "Oh man."
Did not have that. No, no. I've been accused of steroids. That's what's crazy. And I'm like, do you realize how big I would be? Oh my gosh. It wasn't worth it though.
And the fact is with all the people that I've trained with, all the people that you've trained with, you can sit there and literally look at the guys who eat perfect, who sit there in the gym. They don't sit there. They don't smoke. They don't drink. They don't do drugs. I'm going to give it, for instance, here for a lot of people that know him, Professor Eder Prisciliano. He was my jiu-jitsu professor for 2 years.
He's been mine for 2.5 years.
And that gentleman right there, if you were to look at this guy, he's not a very big guy. He's from Brazil. He was our professor. Mm-hmm. And the physique on that guy, he
eats chocolate.
He eats chocolate.
He loves chocolate.
The fact is when we get in, and here shortly we will get into health and fitness, and we will talk about the abilities to eat kind of more what you'd like if you put in the hard work and dedication to earn that food. But a little bit more about Nate, Mr. Kirby. He is an MMA coach with a good handful of young fighters underneath him. I've watched many of his young fighters go on to win fantastic fights in the AXC, and some have moved up and on from the AXC. He's the head promoter for the AXC and fight maker. Taekwondo black belt.
Yeah, 4th degree.
4th degree. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt.
Yep, 2-stripe.
Well, if there's anything I missed, Mr. Kirby, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
I don't know. I'm usually talking about everybody else. It's funny to try and talk about yourself. I really want to focus on other people all the time. That's truly a good mark of a true leader. It was funny. I was sharing this story with my pastor. There was a prime minister debate, and there was a lady that sat down with both of these prime ministers. And when she got done, and they didn't like each other. And these two guys didn't like each other. And when they were done, and she sat down and she said, I had dinner with the one guy, and she said, I thought he was the most intelligent man in the world. And when I got done with the second guy, I felt I was most intelligent. It was just the way he poured into her. And so, but anyway, I started martial arts when I was a little kid, 8 years old, started karate, kicking bags. And then right out of high school, I didn't do much during high school. I lived in really small town, poor, had nothing, knew nothing. And then when I graduated, got back into Taekwondo, started doing boxing, Taekwondo, then boxing. And then of course, some street fights, not that I'm proud of, but.
I think most MMA guys start out as street fighters at one point in time or another.
A lot of them have a bad history, and I definitely didn't have a bad history. It's not the reason why I continued down that path.
Guilty.
Bad history?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely had a bad childhood, but it wasn't the reason I said, I've had a bad heart, I got an anger issue, it wasn't that at all. I actually, prayed to decide if this is what I wanted to become. I didn't know if I wanted to be a professional fighter or not. I knew so I started Taekwondo. What's crazy is, my life did not start till I was 25. I want to be a massage therapist my whole life. I want to be a ninja since I was 5, So I'm in martial arts. I'm training. I go to California to train, and then I come back, and my whole entire life changed. I opened up my business. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy a gym. I found this fitness center. It was for sale. I bought this gym. I turned it to a 24-hour gym. 400 members in 2 months by Christmas. It was like Merry Christmas to me. And then, that wasn't enough. So I had a Taekwondo school. That wasn't enough. So I had 3 Taekwondo schools in 3 different towns. And then I'm doing self-defense training turned into MMA training type of thing. This was in 2005. Had our first little fights upstairs above my gym, 4,000 square foot above it. That's where MMA began in a little town of Washington, Iowa. Up above my gym, on mats. That was crazy. Had my first one where I promoted a fight and fought in an armory. And I'll never do that again. It was like, oh, you gonna fight? I'll never have that burden of fighting and promoting. It was awful. So anyway, I fought. The fight lasted 16 seconds, and I'm huffing and puffing around that cage. I was just it was unbelievable. I mean, I didn't want to stop. I know it sounds bad. I didn't want to stop punching him. I didn't want to stop kicking him. It was exhilarating. I'm looking around the audience, I remember you. Come on, So
Calling out the crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
You're next.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, okay. That's where the Tasmanian Devil nickname came. And I don't know. And then it just kind of, I remember my first cage fight in Quincy, Illinois. It was unbelievable. I signed my first autograph there and then had another fight. And then I remember my first submission against a wrestler from the University of Iowa. And then, I don't know, I remember just going like 3, 4, 5, 6 fights undefeated. It was 7 fights undefeated and fighting for a title. And it was exhilarating. It was amazing. Loved it.
Now you're out there, you're instructing guys. You're out at the ATA on Bowman.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been to your facility. Phenomenal facility.
Very lucky. Very
yeah.
lucky. 3 huge shopping centers. We have 3 big bays. We have over 300 students there total between. And I know people, sometimes you got a martial arts school, they might have 50 people, might have 60 people, might have 100 people. Very rarely are you going to find a place that holds 300 students from the ages of 3 to 70 years old. And there's women in there doing taekwondo, kids doing taekwondo at, crazy ages just because of the physical benefits, of course the life skills of confidence and those are things that you just don't get every day. But then we have mixed martial arts for kids, mixed martial arts for adults. There is a fight team. There is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There is a striking class. There's kickboxing. So it's kind of and there's a cage. And we're really blessed to be there. Great location.
And what's amazing, if anybody gets a chance, do stop into the ATA on Bowman. I'm telling you right now, it's a pretty amazing thing to be able to walk in them doors and realize that in one room you've got a kid's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class going on, while look to your right and you've got a cage with like some of the most insane fighters training right there, right next to a beginning Taekwondo class.
That's right.
All of it going on at one time.
And all respecting each other. And that's what was hard when I moved down here to Arkansas. And that's what people are still struggling with. Talk all the trash you want about this martial art. Talk all the trash about this guy. First of all, you don't even know if you're not even in that cage. You don't know if you're not training it. You have no idea unless you put in the time and the effort yourself. So you can zip your lip, you can stay obese and stay on your couch and be a couch potato watching MMA and critique everybody. Go ahead. You be my guest. But I challenge you to step off your couch, to step out of your house and do something. I don't care whether it's kung fu, it's judo, there's jiu-jitsu, there's just wrestling classes. And go to the gym and get a membership. It's time to take back your life. And I don't know how many times I got to explain that to somebody. I don't care what it is you do. If it isn't martial arts, if that's not your thing, then fine. That's not what I'm preaching. I'm preaching find something to make your thing. Find something. Start living.
Well, and it's a fully understood thing. I've got a good buddy of mine that about a week ago came down to Nemesis Jiu-Jitsu where I train at, and has straight up said, I've never been a sports guy. I've never been an athlete. He was in the Air Force, and he got out, and he got a little comfortable and gained a couple extra pounds. But he thought, oh, man, sports was never my thing. I think he put on a football helmet once, got hit, and said, I'm done.
Oh, well, then MMA is definitely out.
But then he steps on the mat one night for an intro class, and he sits there and completely 100% fell in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That's amazing.
And thought, wow, where has this been my entire life? Now for ATA, real quick, location and the phone number for ATA on Bowman.
Yeah, it's 1121 South Bowman Road. It's on the corner of Bowman and Canis in the shopping center next to Bird and Bear Medical. Again, amazing location. It's super close. Again, lockers and a whole pro shop and 3 different training floors in there and heavy bags and a cage. Amazing instructors, jiu-jitsu instructors. We have you been able to train with Marcos? You know Marcos, right? Have you been able to train with Marcos Silva?
I have not had an opportunity. I have not had the pleasure of training with Marcos just yet. I guess he's out of town at the moment.
Yeah, he went back. He went back, and Nate and Nick Diaz. He was with him in California for a while. As soon as he moved to the United States, and then he moved here, started working for us. He went back there to train, help them, but also help him train for World No Gi. He took 2nd place in World No Gi in California. Well, I just found out. So he went back to Brazil to train, stay there over the holidays. He's training, I think, for Abu Dhabi, or he's training for something massive coming up before he comes back to the United States. But, okay, so you were talking about Professor. And this little guy, 170 pounds. I'm 240 pounds right now. I weighed last night. It was 241, okay? He feels like he is 250 pounds on you.
Easily.
Vice grip legs, a death grip, unbelievable. Marcos is about 185 pounds, a different weight class up. He's probably, no lie, 4% body fat. He has a 12-pack. He's one of the most jacked dudes I've ever met. He has amazing core, standing on a balance ball, standing on a Pilates ball, standing on it, and just balancing and doing. He's insane.
The Henner Gracie standing on a balance ball, like, here you go.
Oh, he's insane. I mean, he's insane. He's amazing, and he's got such a great heart, and he's got such a passion for jiu-jitsu. So I've been blessed just to be with these guys to teach me a whole different aspect of that game. My love, I know it sounds bad. People don't understand this, and I hope they don't judge me for it. I love to punch people in the face. And I don't mean it in any disrespectful way. Not on the street.
Fully understandable on that one.
I don't know what it is, but it was elbows. It was just being able to do damage. That's what was real. Well, in jiu-jitsu, it's completely different. There's a lot more self-control. It was hard for me. I can't do anything. You got a hold of my gi. We're grappling. There's no striking. So it was a completely different. So, man, I had to learn a whole new respect for a whole nother martial art. And I've been fortunate enough to train and major 3 martial arts.
So your MMA classes that you're teaching out there, what can some young guy or woman expect when they step on the mats with you to start learning MMA?
Okay, I had 2 guys come in yesterday. One's 37 years old. First excuse, he says, well, you know I'm 37. I had another guy come in, and I hope he's listening right now. He bailed. I mean, I turned my back to go back to my class for 1 second, and he bailed when I told him that you have to train. He was asking about our tournaments, and I said, I thought he was talking about NAGA, grappling tournaments. We don't call our fights tournaments. You know, they're mixed martial arts fights. They're sanctioned by the Athletic Commission. You know, that big AXC's coming up. I got my mind wrapped around those fights. You know, that's what I was working on until 2:30 this morning. Anyway, he's asking about getting paid. I mean, I don't know where these guys come from to think that they're just going to walk in somewhere, put their name in a hat, and, hey, pay me to come and fight. This is a sport. So I tell everybody, number one, check your ego at the door. There's no pride in here. We're family in here. You don't have to prove anything to me. I don't have to prove anything to you. You want to learn, this is a safe place to learn. You want to fail, this is where you fail. I'd rather try something and fail and never try anything and just always wonder. So go in there, try your first class. You're going to love it. It's going to be exhilarating and exhausting. It's going to be crazy amazing. Because once you do it one time, just like you said about your buddy, you're hooked. You know, Jessica Duff from THV, she made fun of MMA 2 years ago. She's in Memphis at a Buffalo Wild Wings during a UFC. And everybody's screaming. She's like, why are they getting all crazy at this? She just can't understand why. And then so she started her first class. She's been with me for a year and a half. She's like a brown belt in MMA, doing flying arm bars. I mean, she's got sick half guard. She's 5 foot tall. I mean, and she just has a love for this sport.
The AXC. Oh, and so getting on that same point, it's funny. If anybody wants, get online. There's a gentleman by the name of Ken Primola. He runs I Love BJJ. He's got a Facebook page. He's got a video out there. And this guy's basically, it's a total spoof, but it's exactly how he was just talking about. And a guy comes walking through the doors and is like, yeah, I want to be an Ultimate Fighter. And he's like, so have you ever done anything? Not really, but man, I got some good hands, man. I've been in quite a few bar brawls, and I've never really lost.
Gosh.
And I'll never forget a conversation I had with Nathan. I'm telling you, this is 2 years ago. Nathan and I go back a couple years now. And he was sitting there saying, you know, and this was before my first big fight coming up, and this was back in 2009. And he would tell you straight, and this is an honest to God fact, if you have a guy call you up and say, hey, I'm going to be a cage fighter. Well, yeah, well, what's your record? Oh, well, I'm 500-0 in the streets. Okay, well, I'm going to take the dude who's got who's 0-2 in the cage, and I'll put my money on the dude who's 0-2 in the cage any day over the dude who says I'm 500-0 in the streets.
Amen.
Because and here's your big example. 2 words for you: Kimbo Slice. Kimbo Slice. Everybody in the world, oh, Kimbo's the man. Put Kimbo in the UFC. He'll be the champ. He was the chump. A big fat dude by the name of Big Country Roy Nelson put him to the ground and made him his woman.
If you don't know Roy Nelson, when you say a fat dude, we're talking the poster boy for Burger King late night drive-up window.
That is right. But he's a BJJ black belt, and he is the real deal when it comes to being in the UFC.
You can't move the moon off you.
No. Now, let's move on to the AXC. You have a big AXC card coming up February.
Yes, sir.
I got online and I looked at the lineup. Now, if everybody gets on AXC, I want everybody to realize something. The AXC will have, there's pro fighters, there's some amateurs, a lot of times we have great female fights. We've got
and there's a great female fight lined up.
It is a cornucopia of great MMA. Now, if you look on there, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see, 25 fights probably lined up, 30 fights. And this is why, and a lot of people don't understand this whole aspect, that by the night that everybody goes to weigh in, a good chunk of those are going to drop out.
Already have.
Fighters drop out due to injury.
Two guys just from Tennessee. One kid blew his knee. That kid's an amazing fighter, but I had to pull him off.
It happens that happens. The night of weigh-ins, you're going to have people blow their weight that don't understand what it takes. I've sat there and watched a guy not make his weight class, walk outside and light up a cigarette.
Insane.
Why? Because he's not the real deal. And you know what? You'll never see that kid again.
Poison body, poison mind.
Yep. There's a lot of these, and it happens. And I do feel bad for the great promoters that are trying to make awesome fights, is that some of these gyms say, oh, man, hey, I've got this awesome young kid. He's coming up. He's 0-0, but, man, I think he's got potential. Can we put him on your card? Then the kid comes out, gets in a fight, and he's a complete embarrassment to himself and to his gym.
And to me, see, Craig, I want to make a plea. This is where I make my plea.
Nathan Kirby's making a plea, everybody. Tune up your radio.
I'm making a big plea here. This is my 15th event that I've promoted in the state of Arkansas since we got here. We became the largest mixed martial arts event in the state. The only one bigger than us is Shark Fights in V3, Texas and Memphis. We have kept ourselves professional in every realm. We've tried to have the most class. It's family-friendly, family-oriented. I do everything I can to keep everything on the up and up. Sanctioned with the Athletic Commission, as true of matches as I can, with the most unbiased involved, since I have gyms from all over representing here in Little Rock, from BB and Jacksonville and Cabot, Willie and Matt and Rolly and Bob Ed. I mean, all these different teams, okay, from all over the state. So I stay as unbiased as possible. My promoter hat goes on. Okay, that promoter hat goes on. I've got the matchmaker hat. That goes on. I've got a coordinator. I've got all these different hats that I wear. But this is the one biggest beef that I have when I'm trying to get these guys to get fights. So this is where I plead with everybody. If you want to fight, just train. Have no intentions of stepping into a cage for at least 6 months. Just train. Get your basics down. Just the foundation of this building we're in was just not built overnight. It had to set, it had to cure until you could build something on top of it. And that's where your foundation comes. So just train. So I'm begging to the fans right now, if you're not a fan of MMA, I'm hoping we can change your heart right now. I'm hoping that we can become, if you're a great fan of MMA, come out, support this. I've got a lot of heart, a lot of sweat, a lot of hours built into this. 20-some fights right now. And I stopped the fight card. I've got guys still begging to get on. It's over. We've got intermission. I've got a girl. Oh, man, I wish I could pull her up. She's going to sing intermission for us. She's beautiful. We've got kids doing demos during the show, grappling demos. It's going to be an amazing night. Not just the fights, but the entertainment is going to be awesome. And the tickets are out. And actually, Craig, I have tickets. So if you have if you want to be able to do a call-in, I'm going to leave you some tickets. So I'm going to give your fans some tickets so you can give them away throughout the next couple weeks.
We're going to take 1 second pause for a station identification right here on KLRG.
You're tuned in to KLRG Sheridan, Little Rock. KLRG can also be heard on the FM 94.5 translator K233BF in Little Rock.
And we're back to the 5th round right here with KLRG's own Craig Anthony. And we're going back to when Nathan's talking about training. I'm gonna give you a quick funny story, and Nathan lived this. AXC 5, my first fight. Now he's gonna remember this because there's no way you can't. I go to the weigh-ins. We were down at Casano's, and I see a guy sitting there, and this guy's wearing swimming trunks. to weigh in. And he's got
don't.
his brother, and this guy's got this funky, half-bald head thing. And he comes up and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, man, what's going on?" I said, "Hi. I got my Gracie Baja shirt on because, well, dude, it was that's my representing. Everybody here, look, I train at Nemesis Jiu-Jitsu, but right now I will stand 100% behind any of the other gyms in this state that are willing and open to helping these sports grow.
Amen.
It is about, and you will see me online wearing a shirt from ATA. I'll wear a shirt from Westside. I'll wear a shirt from Nemesis, Gracie Baja, Max Bishop. I don't care because I'm here to help them grow. I want to see local tournaments. I want to see a jiu-jitsu tournament with 1,000 fighters come out, like a Naga, right here in Arkansas. And that can't happen, but it can't if people are not willing to support each other. I support the Taekwondo tournaments, which are phenomenal. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm like, half the kids in America, dude, bring your kids to a Taekwondo class. If you want to sit there and watch your kids get excited about something, man, put them on a mat where they can sit there and kick the crap out of a bag. You'll see a kid's face light up so fast, it's ridiculous. But now this young guy comes up to me, this guy, well, he was young, but looked old. He goes, "So Craig, where do you train at?" I'm like, okay, the big sign on my chest says Gracie, so you see where I'm at.
Right.
How about you, dude? Where are you training at? He says, "My garage." Really? "Oh, my brother was a Marine, and he was training me all the stuff in the Marines." Okay.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Okay. This guy comes out to fight, and the guy who was fighting was called the Canadian Killer. But we sit back, and I'm watching this fight from the backstage because I'm psyching myself up. If anybody's ever fought out there, if you get an opportunity, I'm going to tell you right now, leading the night of your fight, you will either have butterflies or you will be the most calm person on the planet. I'm a calm type person.
Butterflies.
He is a Tito Ortiz throws up before every fight.
I throw up after.
Yeah, some guys throw up after. You hear that music come on, and life starts, man. It's awesome. But this guy comes out, and I'll never forget even hearing the commentary as this guy comes out. And you ever watch the old Mary Shelley's Frankenstein? This guy comes out almost stiff-legged. The Mummy. He pulls out the Mummy, and he was going after this guy. Now, needless to say, the fight only lasted, I think, about 60 seconds, and the guy got rear naked choked. Train.
That was an embarrassment to me. So bad.
It's an embarrassment to the sport. It makes guys like Nathan Kirby and these promoters, and I'm not talking about just Nathan Kirby, Will Broyles from Ring Rulers and a lot of these other fighters. Look, these guys are trying to put on a great show because I can tell you right now, the greatest thing that Nathan Kirby is probably wanting to do is be able to sell out Verizon Arena completely for one of his events. But you know what? When you have jokesters that want to step in the cage just to try to prove something, go home. Because I don't want to see someone prove anything. I want you to train for the love of the sport and to get in shape. If you want to fight, take it seriously. Yes, it's okay. I'm not going to dog on those that go, "Man, I just want to be able to say I did it once. I want that." But if you do.
Yeah, I've got those, and I understand that.
That's fantastic. But don't sit there and think, "Dude, I'm a tough guy. I've beat up my buddies in high school, but now I'm 36 and a keg deep in the belly and think I'm going to step into a cage." Because I'm going to say right now, if you step in the cage against me today, you will not win, and I probably won't let you out of the first round. And I train all the time. All the time.
Yeah, I'm a mat rat now.
Yeah, definitely something about being a mat rat.
Yeah, it's we have a kids class called Mat Rats just because of that. You get on the floor, and what's funny is I got somebody who used to train with me. He was gone for quite a while. He had some health issues, and he's come back after his first day. He had some mat burns on his knees and his elbows and his feet, and we're making fun of him because he's all soft. I haven't had a mat burn in a year. I mean, I have no feeling there.
It's leather elbows, leather knees.
I have leather knees, leather toes, and it's funny because one of the moms, she's like, "I'm surprised your feet look as good as they do, as barefoot as I am, and as much as I'm on the floor." I'm like, that's kind of weird, I don't think about stuff like that, but.
Now, am I correct to see that you have a title fight coming up on this AXC card?
Yes, I really wanted to have this a 55-pound title fight with Thomas Gifford and David Lindsay. Listen, when I started putting this fight together just for the pro side of it, it's a little different with the pros. I mean, I really, I've been embarrassed by the pros. I've been embarrassed to the point where I'd rather not even have a pro on the fight card because the amateurs fought better. And this guy is still calling me today. I won't say who it is, but he fought one time and that's it. He embarrassed me one time. I was completely embarrassed. And now he's begging me for another fight, begging me for a rematch. I'll fight for free. Well, definitely not a professional if you keep telling me that. But Thomas Gifford fighting David Lindsay, it has fight of the night completely written all over this. I'm so jazzed about that fight. David Lindsay has a fight actually tonight, I believe. Tonight or tomorrow night. It's in Tunica, so I don't know if it's a Friday night or a Saturday night fight, but he's got a big fight. So I'm praying that everything works out well. He already had the fight set, so I couldn't put him in a contract. I'm just praying that he doesn't have an injury. Win, lose, or draw, I'm just praying he's not injured and he'll be able to fight for the professional fight against Thomas Gifford. But I have another pro title fight or an amateur title fight on the line with Jonathan Chitwood as well. And he's got 2 titles and then 2 other organizations and 2 different weight classes. Wow. And so this guy, he's a training freak. He's had a hard life. I mean, we're talking, he's come back from drugs. He's had a rough life. He's so focused on training. He's one of the most dedicated guys I've ever had since I've been here in Little Rock.
And see, people need to realize, too, that there's a big difference, but there's not a big difference between some of these amateurs and the pros. The fact of the matter is, when you turn pro, there's no going back to being an amateur.
Nope, done.
And just because you have the title pro does not mean overnight millionaire. Not happening. Not in the UFC.
No.
Not in any organization in MMA. MMA fighters, beyond any other sport, fight more for the love of the sport than almost any other sport that I could possibly think of, because you have to do it for the love. If you don't, you're going to burn out and you're going to go away. There are fighters, if you realize the UFC, just because a guy's on the UFC card, I've seen guys on the UFC cards not get paid more than $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah, and they lose money because of the medicals. They have to pay unbelievable amounts of money. Well, you could talk to Rolly when he fought in the UFC. And he said the same thing. All the medicals you have to go through, all the background stuff, all the licensing you have to do because you have extensive blood work. I mean, it isn't just blood work, HIV stuff. I mean, we're talking some extensive stuff. I mean, I think they take eye pressure tests. So once you get through the medicals, then you have the training, and then you have hotel, then you have flight. I mean, especially if it's not booked through UFC, if you have to pay for your own. I'm not flying anybody to Little Rock. Until, like you said, we get to go into the Verizon. My goal was this year, right now, February, Valentine's Day Massacre was going to be at Verizon. But after I realized in June, I still have small towns. We had a show out of town last time. I just wasn't getting the support from the businesses. I'm struggling right now for the businesses to understand that your brand loyalty, NASCAR.
Huge.
Can you even see those stickers on those cars? But they pay tens of thousands of dollars for it. Can't understand it.
I think right now it's like $10,000 for about a 4-inch little tiny sticker that you could put on a car. $10,000 for one race.
Unbelievable, just driving in circles. And I'm not, NASCAR fans out there, I know you love the sport just like we love our sport, but I'm talking about the business side of it, the business side of what we do. I'm trying to get these businesses. MMA has higher brand loyalty than NASCAR. That's why it's not the Busch series anymore. It went to Nationwide?
Yep.
Because Busch went to MMA. They
Busch
pulled their
left.
big sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anheuser-Busch pulled their sponsorship. They went to MMA. So I'm trying to get these businesses, so I'm trying to call businesses and get them to sponsor these fighters, get them to sponsor our shows, sponsor our TV programs, this radio show, brought to you by, trying to get booths, if they don't support, then I can never grow, because just off a $25 admission, that ticket that they get to watch all these amazing fights, all the hard work that I've put together for the last 10 weeks, all come to fruition in one night. $25 a ticket just pays the bills.
And people got to realize, $25 for a night of, now I've been to multiple AXC events, and I'm telling you, I've never been disappointed by one AXC event that I've either fought in or that I've been to watch. If you go to the UFC right now, and this is not a joke, I've looked. If everybody remembers that Friday night, the night before New Year's, the fight's up in Las Vegas. If you wanted a nosebleed seat, worst seat in the house will cost you over $1,000 for the worst seats in the house.
I've been to 2 UFCs.
Plus, you got to fly out to Las Vegas and all this stuff. It's great. I love the UFC. Dana White, the Fertettas, they have the supreme, they rule it all.
Well, and that's also a problem. That's a whole other conversation to have.
It is. But realize what you're getting. You are getting great fights there. Tomorrow night, we've got Jose Aldo versus Chad Mendez. I wish we had more time. I'd love to go into that with you. But don't worry, I will be bringing Nathan Kirby back on. I mean,
I just want to say, Craig, I'm honored to be here on your first day of the 5th round. This is awesome. The championship round, man. This is where it all goes down.
He gets it. I didn't know if many people would understand why I called this the 5th round.
Yeah.
It's because up until recently, the 5th round meant you were in a title fight. And it's the last round of the fight in a title fight. But he got it.
Yeah.
It's because he's the man.
Yeah. It's not my first rodeo.
And the other question I had, in AXC, is there an amateur light heavyweight champion currently? Because according to your website, and I have not seen a light heavyweight champion yet. But I think the biggest reason being is because you don't have I have not seen a lot of light heavyweights for the division. But I'll declare it right now that a lot of people realize I'm going to the America's Got Talent auditions this weekend.
I'm excited for that. That's crazy awesome.
I'm pumped up. But no matter what, if this doesn't work out for me, I think I'm a talented guy. If not, Mr. Kirby, I'll declare it right now that I'm coming after that light heavyweight title in the next, I'll give it total of 2 years. I will fight as much as necessary to come after a title for the light heavyweight title for AXC. I'll declare that right now.
Well, I'm hoping that you make that decision and it happens sometime this year then.
Then I'll fight. We'll know after this weekend. Of course, I'll be in touch with Mr. Kirby and everybody out there. And, of course, so if the America's Got Talent thing don't fly, I've got a great supporting fight team behind me, a lot of stuff going on. So I would love to come after that title. So, well, we're out of time. We are.
That's bad.
But, Mr. Kirby, I greatly appreciate you coming in on my inaugural day on the radio of the 5th round. I'm Craig Anthony for KLRG in the 5th round.
Expect a win. I don't know, by knockout or submission. That's what I'm going to go for, but I expect 5-minute round of war at 38 base.
It is the one we have waited our entire lives for.
Craig Anthony, the morning maniac himself, here to tell you to tune in Fridays at 8 a.m. for my show, The 5th Round. I'll be covering the best in sports, MMA, plus health and fitness. If you're tired of the same old sports news, tune into The 5th Round, where I will get the community involved and be in your face about health and fitness. The 5th Round on KLRG 880 AM and 94.5 FM, Friday mornings at 8 a.m.
It has been going from Romney from day one because, Todd Schnitt is a complete status. I mean, the guy is complete status, loves the state, loves the government, and wants to make sure that they infringe on our rights as much as humanly possible. And, it's obvious by the lack of talent that his show actually has.
Well, the other two stories I wanted to get to really quickly here is obviously for those of you that think the Iranian situation is not getting a little heated. They have now 2 days in a row publicly. Now the Ayatollah is blaming Israel and the U.S. for assassinating their nuclear scientists. And Russia has included some comments as well warning us against increasing sanctions, increasing pressure and tensions in that area. So the world stage in that area is gotten hot and heavy, and I think it'll be interesting to see how these candidates will finally have to come clean on what their agenda will be and how they feel like they have to handle Iran or not.
Yeah, this is getting ramped up, and